let's just go ahead and jump into it. Let's see what's going on. I hope you guys are ready. Are you guys ready? But your Twitch streams get deleted? Yeah, they do. They get deleted after I download them after a week. So that's the whole purpose. Is like, if you guys want to watch the longer stream, just join us. So it's always being updated on Discord when I'm going to go live. All right, this is where we left off. Damn. Oh, that's actually Pog. Holy shit, that's Pog. Having Garfield join you? Oh. You know what's something that did surprise me though, and I guess this is how you know that I don't get everything right, is he has a similar color scheme to like the people that are attacking the mansion, like, by the thing that he's wearing. Sure that you guys can see my little mouse for there. But like, he's not necessarily an evil guy. It's just like individual hired. Although you can say the same thing about the witch cult, right? As they all wear like similar designs, right? But I don't know. Like the fluffy texture of that kind of reminds me of Elsa. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Like, like all the assassins that are there at the mansion, Garth, the archbishops, like, he really wants that lasagna. Yeah, that's why he's heading there, right? Like, he really needs that. But also the character development, and just taking that in, the character development right off the bat from him being, yeah, could be. It's very, very nice to see that characters are built this way, but also, like, his character progression has been insane, right? Because from someone necessarily, like, changing in every loop, depending on the answers that you gave, like, even if you gave the same answer, just depending on what had happened previously, like the previous triggers, is very realistic. And I think, in a way, like, even if you were to reset, say that you had the power to go ahead and reset the world every single time you wanted, right? If you did that, and Garth is Elsa. No, I don't think Garth is Elsa. Let me clear that. But honestly, I don't know what it takes to kill Elsa. This is something I've been thinking as well. But let me get back to my first point. Fuck, and I'm losing my first point because my mind's so distracted now. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm trying to stand up to get this back in here. But anyway, no. What was I saying? Damn, what was I saying before I got to Elsa? Garth something. Oh yeah, his character progression and changing. So in realistic times, like every single time that Garth was also, god damn it, chat, I'm gonna ignore you for a second. Every single time that you decide to go ahead and like restart a scenario world or something, and say that you had cereal, right? If you change the cereal that you had and you continued throughout your day, it might, or your breakfast that you had, it might actually affect things differently. So it's quite interesting that he was like one of those characters that kept changing along. So do other characters like Ram during like the episode 18 and previous that kept happening. So that's interesting. But for Elsa, what would it take to color? I don't know. For me, she reminds me of like, because like, Reinhardt couldn't kill her. Like nothing you do in this term seems to be killing her. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what can you possibly do to kill her? Like, I don't know. She just needs a hug. Yeah, but I feel like if you hug her, she's just going to like stab you, and it's not probably the best idea to have. I don't even think removing her head would work. I don't even think like if you set her on fire, would that even work? Like realistically, like if you worth it, like if you went through something like that, would that? Because her expressions, right, and how she talks about innards and everything is so like, how do I put it? It's like a puppet that has really like, it's the envy of seeing other people's guts spill out and finding them beautiful. It's like a lot of murderers, and a lot of, especially like homicide, like psychotic victims that are murderers that start to do certain things. What you end up doing is like a lot of their killing patterns are usually meant because you're missing something, or because that's what represented a certain aspect of their life, right? So I wonder what it means for her to go ahead and like go after Bounce. Also, I don't think Frozen Elsa would pretty much do anything as well. Like she she could probably like come back from that, like we saw in the fight when she killed Betty. So anyway, let's just go ahead and keep going. Oh, he's getting a power up. Oh, okay. What are you planning, Ram? Oh, what are you planning? Internal officer? Eh? Oh. The people's champion. The people's champion. Otto. There we go. Honestly, her innocence is so... Oof. No, mental, if you want to be realistically, mentally, she's not even like 14. She's like a 12-year-old or 10-year-old. Like, just based off of the way that she's like reacting and whatnot, I think a lot of my 10-year-olds are actually a bit more like aware of their surroundings. She can be 14, but the trauma that she's endured, like that mentally, that actually puts people back, like especially the way that she's reacting and the way that she's responding to the scenarios around, you know. Even if it's been 7 years, here's the thing: if you're not actively using your brain and if you're not actively evolving, you know, and just getting her memories back, true. And that's what I'm saying. Like pre getting her memories back, she was acting like a little kid, black and white vision, you know, promises are everything, so on and so forth. Like, and if you're not actively evolving as a human being, your brain is literally going to be trapped there. And granted, trauma happens for everyone at some point or another, right? Whether we like it or not, it could be a passing of a family member, a traumatic event, so on and so forth. But the thing is, like, how do we evolve from that? How do we grow from that? How do we cope with whatever situation might have happened? And it's just interesting to point out that, like, for her, like, so first off, touching on various things, right? The insane attachment to Puck, right? I wouldn't say insane, but like, I guess the close-knit attachment that she had to make for survival reasons for herself to Puck, right, after Frozen Bonds. Subaru coming in and doing all of this. The innocence of like what a relationship is, per se, like, and what is the difference between like friendships and someone that's genuinely interested in you, and you have like 1,001 things to go off of, which by the way I don't think, and this is why I keep saying like cultural knowledge is super duper important no matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you're even like traveling like interstate or intercountry or like it's the next door country. Read up a little bit on the culture, even if you're like, you know, aside from just like the general like books, whatever it may be, right? Say that you were staying there for a while. Read up on the culture. What does it mean for culturally for like, you know, a handshake? Is a handshake appropriate in this scenario? What is the like, you know, linguistic terms? What are the relationship terms that come with it? And I can't stress this enough because, for example, if a warm person, right? By a warm person, and like there's like warm cultures and cold cultures by the way that they were like reference one another. If we say someone from like Argentina, Chile, Mexico, whatever, were to go ahead and go to like a very, I guess, cold country like Germany or Finland or any of those, you see a difference in the way that like the interaction is met, i.e. a lot of people tend to be very warm and open and friendly and right off the bat like, hey, how are you doing, to like, you know, people. And over there, that's seen as completely weird. That's seen as like putting up like, you know, like you're fake, even though it's not fake. It's just being open and nice and courteous because of the cultural differences. So it is so important to go ahead and read into that because you can get into a lot of mishaps. So for example, this is where I know I messed up. Forget where I went that I gave someone a rose, right? And it was like an even number or an odd number. I forgot what it was. But to them, that signified like leaving, going away, like a break, you know, like not necessarily wanting to be with them, just seeing them in a certain way. And I was like, I did not know this. Like where I come from, like giving you like a flower is just giving you a flower. There's not like, you know, it's just like the romantic aspect of, hey, I cared about you, so I got you something. So it's super duper important to like be culturally aware, be like know where you're heading, know what's going on, and especially like the significance of like holding hands. What does a kiss mean to this culture, right? do they know like certain aspects, like warm countries who tend to like hug, kiss in the cheeks, whatever it may be, right? Colder countries that might be seen as extremely weird, trivial, even like some aspects where you're like, oh, we don't do that until we're at a certain point. So big things to throw out there, and big things that like I was like, all right, dude, like I know that you were in the heat of the moment and it happened, but like in a realistic setting, there would always be like miscommunication that was happening off of that, you know? Anyway, sorry guys, I just went into a big rant about it just because I was thinking about it. Like culturally, you have two big different cultures that are coming in, and for him, it might have totally seemed normal for Subaru to like go ahead and do what he did in the previous episodes of like the I love you, the hug, the kiss, whatever. And we don't know the mentality or the understanding of someone that's so naive, and whether they understand what that means for them, or what any of these people understand what love means for them. So anyway, and I'm going to say this because it's true. Like, I don't mean to take away from it, but it's important. We just don't want to hold hands. Fair. Hey, you know what? Sweden is beautiful, by the way. Like, some of the parts that like I went to, very expensive. It was expensive. It was beautiful. So nice of you to be there. But what I was going to say originally is like, it's important to put like picture this out, right? And like before I get some of you guys being like, Anchor, like, you know, smashing the keyboard and leaving like mean comments all over the place. I do have to say, guys, educate yourselves wherever you go, whether it's on matters of relationships, sex, education, finances, how to approach a person. If you don't know how to build something, look it up on YouTube. There's always someone there willing to help. Unprotected hand holding leads to COVID. And yes, please take care of yourself during these times. I'm not even sure if this video is up. It'll probably still be a thing. But yeah, please protect yourself from whatever way you feel is fit. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but be smart, be caring, and be empathetic towards others. And sorry, I accidentally pressed the back button, so we're continuing from where it stopped. But what is she planning on doing? My whole brain is like... Oh, okay. So Ram, are you gonna go against him for him? Because I would... If I was in Roswaal's shoes, really quick, what I would be doing now is like plan A has failed, plan B has failed. This guy is clearly figuring shit out and has even challenged me. At this point, I would try and interfere at some point or another. So like my brain has been like, you know, spiraling essentially like out of control for the last couple of episodes after Pandora was introduced, which thank you. I would like if I was Roswaal, I would try to interfere. I would try and find a way to interfere with this process, even if that meant like stopping Amelia, right? So then, where does this leave this characters, right? If Amelia's taking the trial, where's Puck? What does Puck do? If Ram's there, what does Ram do? Is Ram gonna actually side in this, like with Roswaal and let him, like, you know, try and help him, but meanwhile try and deceive him, or is she actually gonna step up and go against him? You have so many different variables. For your Roswaal, what would you do? Would you take the villagers hostage, and if so, what reputation would that leave you with if you ended up doing anything to the villagers while Amelia was inside? And then vice versa. You know, if you really wanted to do things like to make Amelia, so for example, if I were to be a villain, right, and if I were to be in Roswaal's shoes, and this is just me thinking like a villain, don't take anything like it. What would I do in order to get Emilia to stop, right? So say that she's doing the second trial, third trial, whatever it may be. Why not take like all the villagers, put them outside, and then just one at a time do horrible things until Emilia comes out and gives up, right? Because she likes the people. She'd do anything for the people. And at that point in case, as long as there are no other interferences, you have the screams of the trauma that you're triggering from her past while doing this in the present. And at the same time, you would completely ruin your reputation as like Lord or whatever. So interesting to think about. What would you guys do if you guys were like in Roswell's shoes at this point in time, and you're trying to make sure that and you're trying to make sure that everything's going or everything will go according to your plan. So, oh, we're good. Oh, God damn it, Ram! Ram! Ah! Oh. Holy shit! I was not thinking this was gonna come through. What shit? Oh, this is. Oh. I can die. No. No. Oh, that kills me. Okay. Oh. Pachi. Okay, Roswaal, you really want to fuck her up? Freeze Ram right there. Just the way that she froze the other people. Just freeze her and make her into one giant ice. Mess her up. Oh, damn. Sorry, this killed me. It was to hold back from taking anything? Oh, Loopy, I'm sorry. Alright, bro. That's not... I feel like I need to teach you some lessons in villainy, especially when it comes to like psychologically breaking a person down. I.e., if someone has trauma in their past, you don't go, oh yeah, no, we're two of a kind, the person that's been trying to save you. Because, and even if you're doing bad and they're doing good, but they're doing good in, you know, whatever greedy way possible, the distinction there, the cognitive distinction that you're throwing out there is not the greatest. Like, you know, you're trying to cause some cognitive dissonance for Amelia to be like, oh no, instead what you should have done, right? It said like, oh, all of these decisions, all the pain and struggle that you see people go through is because of you, right? It's not the greediness of Subaru or anyone else. It's the greediness of your actions for being so innocent. So you take away the thing from like, oh yeah, me and Subaru are the same, to like, you need to, at the same time telling them that you need to grow up by doing that aspect. So, you know, the cognitive dissonance is shifted from the person that like gave you this loud pep talk is just like me, to the reason why all of this has happened is quite literally because you haven't grown up. And that's a bigger point to hit on, which is sort of like the insecurity at hand than the insecurity of the attachment. So this is why you failed, bruh. Yeah. Nice. It takes a lot to admit your faults and be able to address a person so directly by it. Like, good for her. No, because he admitted his faults as well, dude. He was being vulnerable. Like, come on, dude. Towards the wrong destiny. So, if there's a season 3, and this is something that, like, it's already been brought up 3 times in the episode, like, is the focus going to be shifted onto the royal selection, essentially? Because I know season 1, it covered a shit ton of topics in, like, 24, 25 episodes, and, like, season 2, it was, like, a lot more slowed down as it's going. Like, it's more like, let's centralize, let's build up the character developments, character flaws, character progression, you know, like, how these characters are evolving, how even through, like, their negativity, or like, their first step that could have been horrible, they're actually coming out to be a little bit of a better person, or understanding more of their past and who they are, right? But the whole concept that it keeps pushing us towards, like, the royal selection, right? So I wonder, like, is this where season 3 is headed, or and so forth, right? Because it's bound to happen where, like, someone's going to get picked if the anime decides to go that way. So that's just what I'm curious about. I'm curious if that's where season 3 or season 4 is going to head into. And also I had some other comments to make, which is essentially, I think I found a way to break Subaru or just make him extremely pissed. And this would be like, if I was a villain in this world that had some sort of power, what is a good way to break a person that is so insanely in love than stealing the thing that he loves, right? And by stealing, I don't just necessarily mean like, oh, like you go and kidnap them, right? But in this selection where nobility or where all of this is happening, what better way, like if I was a villain and my whole ideology, especially with everything that I know of a character, is like, let me go ahead and break Subaru down into like the worst aspect of a human being that I can go ahead and push. What would I do? Number one, if I had the ability to bring someone's memories back, like, or not memories back, but just them back, bring Rem back without her memories. You would fuck this man up, right? Because all of that relationship that he had built, granted it was in an unhealthy environment, now you have the situation where he has to deal with someone that he really cares about that doesn't care about him or doesn't even recognize him. And it's like, who are you? You're a creep. Like, you know, especially with the way that Subaru is on a blank slate. That's how someone would react. You want to take it a step further? Take Amelia for yourself. How? Marry her. Do something. Not necessarily kill her, because you know, if you kill her, everything will reset. But if in the mind of a villain, take the things that he cares about and break them down, i.e., you know, even for Otto, right? If you're going to be a villain and you decide, like, you know what, I'm going to hurt Subaru in every single way, what way would you target Otto, right? Aside from his family, right? So, aside from the obvious, heading for his family. If he is so sensitive to animal noises or creatures, right? What better way than to literally invite him in for a merchant meeting and have a creature that's so loud that can literally disrupt a person's ear. This is what a villain that has some knowledge as to how to manipulate people or control an environment, right? So, you know, if you do enough of that, you're willing to push a person to go to the extremities of literally breaking their psyche, right? Because the woman that you care about, it is the final boss of ReZero. No, I'm just thinking this through, right? It's like, how do you destroy a person? How would you destroy a person as you went along? So, for example, you did that. Number two, another way that I can think about it is quite literally knock Subaru out, throw him into another country, find your way back. He's going to die 1,000 deaths by the time he comes back. He comes back, boom, do it again. So there's a neighboring countries, dump him off there, you know? by the time he comes back, you have a little bit more time to have a strategic planning. Trolling 101. Like a little bit more time to go ahead and do yourself and plan for the future and do whatever you need to do. So as a villain, and if and if we were to go ahead and pull this off, right? So it'd be Rem, target Rem by trying to find a way to bring her back as a blank slate. Number 2, Emilia. If you can find a way to marry her, even if it's not because of love, because you truly care about her, but just literally the act of marriage or the act of you being or Emilia being in a relationship would destroy Subaru quite a bit. Number 3, yeah, take Subaru and put him somewhere else. 4, Otto, because right now Otto's being one of his main support structures. You know, find a way to destroy his ears. Number 5, and if you even want to put that, like, this whole thing is center him to be a villain, i.e. he's in cahoots with the witches, you know, the like archbishops, with the witches cult, so on and so forth. Because now you all have a proper storyline to push forward to. But you can also, like, I don't know, you can team up with some of the other Royal Selections, like, members and use them to go against her. So I hope that makes sense. This is just, like, the little plots that I've been thinking. It's like, how do you, like, as a villain, if they were to do this, how would it affect this character, right? And, like, these are just a couple of, like, several different scenarios that I picked up. Harry and Amelia is Pog. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for a lot of you guys, it's your train. Interesting. And by interesting, I mean the cinematography so far, like along the conversation. I'm sure you guys can do this whenever you guys get a chance to actually watch. Watch the way that this was drawn, even through like if you ever take a film class or a theater class or anything like this. Like what you will see is it's the literal positions of power, right? Which is like I don't know how to put it. For Emilia, it started up like from like I don't know how to put it exactly like how I am like at the moment, like looking down, right, which is more of like a position of weakness to literally her being drawn up and more eye level and more on top, as opposed to Roswaal who was up top and just like aside from like the neutral face shots, right, the standard face shots. Look at the way that like everything's being drawn, and it's also positions of power inside of a filmmaking process or animation. The camera is telling the story as well, which is really well done. No. And you didn't attack her. I'm surprised. Out of all the things, I feel like she's not going to listen to you. Right? Ooh, endgame. Alright, you're gonna get the Infinity Stones for this? Oh, okay, so you are going to the stone. Oh, Roswaal, that is... no. Yeah, how's everything been going according to your book? I don't think she's trying to kill you just because she wants to kill you. She just wants to snap you out of reality, bro. Or back into reality. What are you doing? Okay, how do you destroy Roswaal? Why don't you get that book he has and then, like, literally rip it in front of him, page by page? Right? And then destroy or, like, mess his, like, relationship aspect up. Question it. Make him doubt himself off of that, right? As you rip every single page up and you burn it. It wasn't written in the book, was it? You're so wrapped up in your delusions. Yeah, you're not understanding anything. Yeah. Bruh. Fuck! Let's go! Puck, come, yeah, Puck is the Infinity Stone. Ooh. Just don't die, Ram. It's anyone who uses the Infinity Stones dies. Don't die. Let's go. Let's go. Oh. Oh. And that's just where, oh. Oh. Alright, in a realistic scenario, like, if I was Ram, I'd probably run away, because, like, oh, that's spicy. That's so spicy. That's so good. Like, yeah, Puck came back with the milk. Like, ooh, that was so good. So my whole thing with that, though, is like, if I was Ram, I'd run away instantly, because then you'd have two Goliaths going at it, and probably, like, go into support structure, try not to get as involved, like, in the middle, because you're probably not going to be at their level, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. Because what would you do off of that? Oh, they're finally back at the mansion. Okay, that makes sense. Oh no, how traumatizing would this be for a little kid? Petro's braver than those people. Damn. Oh no. Oh fuck no. I don't want to see you stabby McStab go through with it. What are you, a doll? A vampire? Werewolf? Like, what are you? An idiot. Oh, it is a full moon, right? An idiot sandwich? Your master sent you. You don't know who's. Ooh. Ooh. This is all intense. Oh, come on. Subaru's gotta be there, yeah? Unless he gets here in the morning and then he has to restart again. Oh, oh, oh! And he brought Garfield with him. This one's gonna be a good fight. This gonna be a good fight. This gonna be the next UFC fight here. That's the only thing she's interested in. Oof. Oh. 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 Garv, can you take her down? Yeesh. That's insane. Oh. What a good episode. Is there more to this, or is this? Oh, there's more. Oh shit. All right, I'll save my thoughts to the end. True. Let's go. 今度こそお前は俺の手でお日様の下に引きずり出されてそのドレスを泥だらけにして真っ黒になるまで遊ぶんだ。Oh. Oh, adorable. Absolutely adorable. Wow, what an episode. Especially because, like, change is already happening. Change is coming. A lot of good changes are happening already where he's actually reaching out to his friends, establishing contact. Garth is, it seems like he's about to beat her up. Hopefully he does. Um, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of amazing just interactions and fair play between them. Although I will say the whole Roswell thing made me crack up so much. I did not expect it to go that way, especially after like breaking it down and be like, oh yeah, no, like, this happened because of this reason, or like, if I was a villain, I'd do this, and Roz appears and does something close. It's absolutely hilarious. I do think overall, like ReZero has shown time and time again that the character progression and that the increase in like awareness of these characters is, yeah, absolutely great. Even though the next episode might seem fire, this is the last episode for the night because I have to go to sleep. I have work in the morning, and I need to be in good fit in order to be counseling. But anyway, I really appreciate you all being here for either the Warzone part or the ReZero part. There are only, I guess, 3 episodes left after this one. Yeah, 52, 52. 4 episodes, my bad, left after this one. So please stay tuned, at least for this week. I think Friday we'll probably do another stream, and we'll do another episode and probably another anime. Who knows? We'll throw it out there. But anyway, please practice some self-care. Bye, YouTube.